What's up, super friends? Today it's all about the fun of the comparison. The last time I compared the SDCC with the regular release Multiverse Cyborg figures. And today I'm going to be comparing the Jason Momoa Aquaman figures. One is the Dawn of Justice version, and one is the Justice League version. Now, if you remember, when I first reviewed this action figure on the channel, at the same time that I reviewed the regular release of the Cyborg figure, I was pretty impressed with this figure. There were most things about this figure I actually liked. I liked the color scheme, I liked the costuming. If you do remember though, I did mention that I thought the head might be just a little bit too big for the body itself, and I also kinda, took humorous jabs at the fact that his feet just look like golden loafers. Like, it literally looks like he put on his armor that day and was like, oh crap, where are my boots? Oh, all I got is these here golden loafers to put on. And bam, he put these on and then decided to go out to fight Steppenwolf and the Parademons. I'm just going to stand him off to the side for a second and bring in the one that just showed up today in the mail. This is the Dawn of Justice version of Aquaman. Now, before I get into actually talking about this figure, I do want to point out that this is the first release of him. There was actually 2 releases of this Aquaman figure, and the second one actually has waist articulation, which this one doesn't. It's completely solid as a rock. And also, the second release comes with a gold-colored trident rather than the mist-colored silver trident. So, yeah, there's also that. But I wanted to do a comparison because this Aquaman figure, the Dawn of Justice Aquaman figure, actually has a smaller head. And even though this figure here, it captures the actual, the gruff look of Jason Momoa quite nicely, this one here doesn't do a terrible job of it either. He seems a little bit baby-faced because there's not any real shading in his face, and this doesn't really look quite as much like Momoa as, say, this one does. This one really captures that look. However, this head seems like it would fit the size of this body better. This head really does seem, in my opinion, just a little bit too big. So I'm going to do a comparison and then possibly a head swap in the end just to see how I feel like it looks. But looking at this figure in general, this is one that I never picked up at retail because here in Canada, these Multiverse figures are $29.99 a pop, so you have to really want the figure you're picking up, and I just didn't have the money for it to tap myself out. There were bigger, better fish in the pond at the time. I found this on eBay for like $10 plus shipping, so I was like, yeah, I think it's about time that I pick him up and do the comparison. Now, the actual figure itself, it's funny, because he looks great, but I wasn't expecting to get a Dawn of Justice Aquaman figure. And I don't mean like I wasn't expecting to pick him up. I mean, it was kind of surprising that Mattel decided to make an Aquaman figure. The first time I saw him online, I was like, what? Aquaman makes a very small, very short appearance in Dawn of Justice, and then whoop, they made a figure of him. And I thought, well, why didn't they make the Flash? It's because his costume wasn't fully revealed. I get that, but I just thought it was a strange choice. Anyhow, so this figure has all the typical articulation that you're going to get in a Multiverse figure. It's got above the knee rotation. It's got the groin that does that. It's got the ankle with, no rocker, that kind of deal. You got the bicep swivel. You got the single jointed elbows that also, did this rotate? Yes, it rotates. So there's that. You got your wrist articulation and typically swivels. Spivels. Is spivels a word? Then you got your head articulation. It doesn't really do a whole lot. You're not really gonna get anything special in the way of articulation with this action figure. However, I think where this one does shine just a little bit better over this figure is, for one, the crisp detail work of his tattoos. It looks quite nice. I mean, it gets a little bit maybe sloppy in places. I'm not really sure exactly how it's supposed to look, but I mean, at first glance it looks okay. And then the overall design looks good. Jason Momoa seems like he might just be a little bit on the not so thick side, with this figure. Like, he could be a little bit wider and V body shaped, but overall I think it was a good attempt at bringing Jason Momoa to life from Dawn of Justice. Now, when I compare the two of them, which one do I like better? You know what? It's apples to oranges. This one, the proportions seem to be a little bit better. The hands seem to be the right size, whereas this one has that giant, huge hand and a small hand. And the head on this figure does seem to be a little bit bigger. If we took off the pauldrons on this Aquaman figure too, I think you would really see that this Aquaman has a bit of a big head. It's the pauldrons that kind of level it out just a little bit. So honestly, if I was looking to just do a Movieverse display, I would probably actually display this Aquaman. However, I do like the armor better. And if I wanted to have some sort of accurate Justice League display, I wouldn't put him in there because he never wore this in Justice League. He wore the full armor. Which one do I like better though? Honestly, I kind of like this one better. Man, I never thought I was going to come up and say that, but it's true. I do kind of like this one better. However, I want to do a Justice League display, which means Aquaman in armor. So, let's try a head swap. Okay, don't look, Aquaman. This is your boil bath. No need to get excited or alarmed. Just going to put a little bit of water in a little cup. Maybe wash your hair, that kind of thing. It ain't no biggie. Just let it happen. Just let it happen. Dude, I almost feel bad. I feel like I'm drowning Aquaman, but that's kind of impossible as he can breathe underwater. So really, there's nothing to worry about. Aquaman is going to be just fine. Here, let me stir the water for you too a little bit. Alright, let's just get you out of there first. Just pop your little softened head off. Woo! Good job. Let's get yours off. Okay, don't worry about it. I'll put your heads back on. It ain't no big deal. I'm just going to pop this head on here just for safekeeping. Oh, that looks hideous. That's way too big. He looks like a reject from Lord of the Rings. Alright, we're going to put this head on here. Pop it on there. Oh, the neck peg is longer. So his head actually sits higher. That means I gotta replace the neck peg. But the neck is really long. Hey, they didn't paint the back of his neck! Cheap buggers! Okay, I got this idea. I'm gonna just snip this in half. Whoops. Okay, well that kinda sucks. For now though, I'm just gonna pop some sticky tack on there just to hold his head in place before honestly, I've got like a whole thing right there full of different bits and pieces, so I'll totally just give him a new neck peg. However, for now, the sticky tack will hold his head in place for the purpose of the video. Honestly, guys, I really think that putting this head on this body actually fixes the proportion problem. He doesn't have a gigantic head any longer. However, if you're going to try and slot it onto this body just for the sake of not wasting it, I think you're going to end up with a very large proportion problem. Honestly, though, it really looks like this Aquaman just doesn't have no neck. It's all close and stuff. And even if the neck was longer, this head is clearly too big for this body. It just won't work. However, if you're looking for a more accurate to scale Jason Momoa Aquaman figure to fit in with your Justice League figures, honestly, I do believe that this head fits on this body a lot better. It doesn't have the same kind of gruff look that this head has, but scale-wise, it does fit better. Anyhow, folks, that's the end of my Mattel Jason Momoa Aquaman action figure comparison / head swap. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, found it enlightening, funny, or a reasonable waste of time. If you did, please leave a like on it so it lets me know that hopefully I'm doing something right. If you have anything to say in the comments, anything at all, please leave it down below because I read absolutely every single comment. And if you think you might want to see more of my sort of content show up in your inbox, well, hit the subscribe button. Remember to ding the bell so that you never miss a video, and then I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a super day.